Hey guys, what's going on? I'm here with Erica.
Hi.
And we finally had a chance to go see Man of Steel over the weekend. And overall, we thought the movie was amazing.
I agree. It was incredible, and I'm a girl.
She loves Superman.
I love Superman. I know he's a Captain America kind of guy, but Superman is awesome. My favorite.
Here's the thing. I grew up first loving Wolverine was my favorite character because he just beat everybody like hardcore. And then my next favorite was Superman. I actually have like so many comics and all the comics in the Life and Death series. I have so many things, Superman. And then I kind of fell into Captain America as my favorite later because he's a mixture of like Superman's righteousness and Wolverine's badassness, because pretty much Captain America will kill you if he has to, where Superman doesn't really like to kill people. It's a side note.
Yeah, because he's a gentleman. That's why I love him so much.
No, well, let's talk about your love in the movie. Should have seen her during the movie. She's like a little girl, like at a Justin Bieber concert, just watching, all excited.
I really didn't appreciate maybe the chest hair, but it's okay. We can overlook that.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that later. Superman doesn't have chest hair, okay? And if he does, it's like a little lines they draw in. It just doesn't happen. But let's start from the beginning. What I really liked about the movie, and we've obviously all seen the Christopher Reeves versions and the other Superman movies as well, I really liked the extended plot they had in the beginning explaining, you know, how Krypton was going to explode and all the breakdown happening within their own society and all the cool like different animals, like that weird like ox thing they had that like went bleh in the beginning of that thing.
Mm-hmm. And for people like me, I don't read the comics. You know, I've seen all of the Superman movies, but it was nice to really get a good picture of what led him to Earth. You know, and all the struggles that his family went through. You know, and the decisions they had to make to really give up his son to save, you know, their kind.
Yeah, and not to mention, Russell Crowe is one of my favorite actors, and I was really surprised because we recently saw that movie, Man with the Iron Fist, and I was like, oh man, Russell Crowe's in Superman, he gained a lot of weight for that other movie, and in this one, he's like back in action, looking good.
Yeah, he looked really good.
But, you know, some of the things that I didn't really understand fully is I didn't really understand the Codex. And it looked like an orangutan, like half of an orangutan skull with all these symbols on it. And, you know, like how does that hold the genetic code of all their people?
Yeah, that's what, you know, we talked a little bit about that. I could understand if there was like a chip, a microchip, or maybe something a little more magical like the Tesseract from the Avengers, you know, that could hold all of that information. But it was just a skull. And we're like, okay, that was kind of random. Yeah,
and like you didn't even really know why it disappeared and went into Superman, or I said at that point Kal-El, because you're like, okay, so now this little orangutan skull is in this Kryptonian baby, and now he's coming to Earth. Like, what is this?
Yes, agreed.
You know, but we want to move forward from there. I will say the costumes, the war armor that they had was badass.
It was incredible.
I already told Erica one day when we're rich, I'm gonna get a Jor-El suit. I'm gonna wear it like everywhere.
Yeah, I was daring him to actually go to the mall wearing that, but he shouldn't be there because he'd totally do it and show up at like McDonald's and order something.
McDonald's.
Yeah, don't make fun of my accent.
Actually, they kind of derived how they put the suit on from Iron Man, which I thought was pretty cool. He's just like, I'm a boss, put on my suit, I'm gonna go beat friggin' what's his face's head in.
Yeah,
Zod,
and I want to talk
General
about
Zod.
his suit. His suit this time was just so awesome. It was a more, you know, I'm all about modern.
We can't talk about the suit yet.
Okay, sorry, okay.
So I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite things leading up until he becomes Superman. One thing I was disappointed in, I didn't like how they didn't show the spaceship like crash and land and like Martha and John going. Like I always feel like that's such a big part of them discovering him, and it kind of really builds that bond between Superman and his parents, his Earth parents. I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah, I missed that part too. Actually, I think that's one of the touchy parts of the movie, you know, when he's a baby and they actually find him, and the way the movie was, they just kind of fast forward to him as an adult. And actually within the first few seconds, I was like, when they first showed him, I was like, is that Superman already? Like,
yeah,
that's his childhood.
I was confused. I thought the movie glitched because all of a sudden it went from the spaceship crashing. I'm like, all right, now they're gonna find baby Superman, and boom, you know, he was on the boat.
And they have flashbacks, so they do show some pieces of his childhood, but it's not the same as showing, like he said, the spaceship crashing and them actually finding him. And I remember some scenes from the old school Superman where, you know, as a baby he's like lifting a car.
Yeah.
You know, I miss that stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but you love it. You know, it's the whole part of the enjoyment.
Yeah, I agree.
So Kevin Costner, amazing for Superman's dad. I really like Kevin Costner.
Me too. He did a really good job.
I am irritated. I mean, I feel like they have to make a decision. Either John Kent's alive or he's dead. And they chose for him to be dead in this movie. And I was really mad because I feel like Kevin Costner always builds such a relationship as like a father figure in movies where he is a father or a husband. Mm-hmm. And so I was really sad to see him go. But I didn't like how, like, I feel like they kind of made him a bit of like a wimp. Because he's constantly telling Superman, we'll call him Clark at this point, constantly telling Clark, like, the world's not ready for you, which his dad does say to him, but...
Yeah, hold back on your superpowers, don't show anything that you can do, you need to kind of take the abuse, if you will, but, you know, they're not ready to see what you can do, so maybe he did take that to a little bit of an extreme.
Well, he took it to an extreme where he'd rather a tornado kill him. You know, I mean, I don't care.
And that was the part that I didn't like either, when his dad died, because the way I'll talk a little bit about that, babe. But
no, we can talk about that now.
There's a tornado, so his dad tells Clark, "Hey, you stay here. You know, you take care of your mother, and you take her to the overpass.
Yeah, the overpass.
And I'll go save the other people." So
he wanted to save the dog, which first of all,
before he saved other people first, like a little girl. You know, the dog was what happened right before he died. So he was like, "Let me be the hero as a regular person. You go to the overpass with your mother and I'll handle this." So he goes there, he helps some people, and then he comes to this critical point where he's coming back, and then I think his mom says, "What about the dog?" So he decides to go save the dog, and of course the tornado hits right as he's there, and he looks at Clark, and you can tell Clark wants to save him, and he says no. You know, just kind of let me die. And that was bull to me, because if my dad is about to die, I don't care what he tells me to do, my instinct is to run there and save my father.
Yeah, I would rather kill everyone under the overpass if they're gonna talk smack and save my dad.
It's like, I'm Superman, I'm gonna save everybody here, and my dad, and the whole universe.
And I said, and if you don't like it, I'll go find the tornado and put you in it. And on top of that, the dog that he went to go save is nowhere to be found the rest of the movie. Which just pissed me off even more. I'm like, saves this stupid dog. Dog probably lived another month because it was old and ragged and gross looking. And now his dad's
We never
dead.
saw him again.
Which they obviously needed his dad to die, because that's where they really kind of like shoved it in Lois Lane's face, and then she didn't print her story. My favorite parts, we'll talk about a little bit about the beginning. I loved the banter with him as an adult, and like that dude picking on him in the bar.
Yeah.
And then the dude like gets in his face and comes outside, and you know, Clark put all the logs through his truck and it was up on post. That was pretty funny. So they made him a little more real. Like, I feel like if you grow up on Earth, you know, even if you're from another planet, you're gonna pick up some of our, I guess, ways, and getting, I guess, back at people a little bit, or just being human is, you know, hey, you're gonna talk smack, well, I'm gonna go destroy your truck while you're inside enjoying your meal, which I thought was cool, and I like that.
Yeah, it was one of the few times where he did not put up with crap.
Yeah.
Because during his childhood, like we talked about, his dad was always telling him, you need to hold back. So you see these scenes of, you know, the kids picking on him, and, you know, he's always putting up with it. It was the one time where we got a little bit of that revenge satisfaction, because you think he's gonna take it, because the guy's like throwing a drink at him, and the girl, you know, the waitress is like, don't, you know, it's not worth it, don't fight him. So he leaves, and you're like, oh great, he's being humiliated again, and he's gonna do nothing about it. And it's the one time that when the guy walks out of the restaurant, his freaking truck has like logs everywhere. We're like, finally.
And they show him stealing clothes in the beginning too.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you know, I'm gonna take these. Which is funny to me, because his suit can withstand, you know, God knows what, but regular clothes on him can't. Anyways.
Yeah. But that was pretty cool, funny part.
So, you know, he goes, you know, everything happens, and now, you know, there's new stories, and Lois Lane is introduced, which I like Lois Lane better as black hair, which is what she's supposed to have. A little too plain Jane for me. Erica and I talked about this. I was like, you know what? I think they could have picked a cuter Lois Lane, And, you know,
Yeah, we talked about it. I think part of the mystique, you know, is that Lois Lane is usually kind of a plain Jane. So that makes the story cuter, you know, because he didn't fall for this bombshell, you know, like it usually goes. He found for the girl, you know, he fell in love for the girl next door. But you know, the girl is really not that cute. I mean, you guys might disagree with us, but we thought he deserved a little better.
Yeah.
You can be plain and be super cute.
And, you know, Perry, they picked Morpheus. I don't know his name. Everyone knows him as Morpheus. They picked Morpheus as Perry. There's never been a black Perry. I personally don't mind because I think Morpheus is badass, but I was a little thrown off. I was like, wait, is Black Perry in this movie? Like, what's going on with that? So, but he did a really good job. He has like that seriousness that I think Perry has.
I love him as an actor, just because to me he's always badass no matter what he does.
Well, in the Adventures of Lois and Clark, the TV show, I think Perry was too much of a jokester for me. So I liked that he was a little more serious in here, and especially that part when they finally go through all the drama of her writing her story and then it gets released, and Perry's like, can you imagine what would happen if the world knew? And you're like, oh, Morpheus is talking to me. But yeah, so the spaceship, and this was a crucial point, and I'm glad we waited to do this review because last night before bed I was thinking, and I was like thinking about some other things that her and I were talking about, and there was a few key items that didn't make sense. So
we're talking about the part of the movie where Lois is introduced
in Arctic,
in I don't know if it's
like Antarctica.
Yeah, but somewhere really cold, one of the poles, North Pole, South Pole, I don't know. And you know, there's a spaceship that has been discovered that has been under ice, I think for like 18,000 years.
20,000 years.
Like that. So that's what he's talking about, just so they know.
Yeah, so Superman goes in, whatever, puts his chip in the little slot, and he's like, this is cool. He sees his dad, starts talking to his dad. His dad explains everything to him. And then all of us, I mean, obviously, and then Lois Lane goes in and saves her, whatever. Now, all of a sudden, he's in the spaceship, and his dad's like explaining, you know, everything, and he's like, boom, here's your suit. So I'm wondering how this suit managed to get on this ship 20,000 years before Superman was even born. Didn't really make sense to me. And
that was not their spaceship either.
Yeah, it wasn't a spaceship, it was a scouter ship.
Yeah, so that was kind of like a fluke, like how did that come about?
And it's funny because the whole movie, up until this point, Superman has facial hair, and then all of a sudden he puts a suit on, he's clean shaven. It's like, Dad taught you how to shave finally, because he didn't know how to. You know what I mean?
But, okay, now I can talk about the suit.
Well, you should, yeah.
The suit is badass. So we're talking about, you know, that's the point where his dad kind of hands him his official Superman suit, and it's awesome because it's different than anything I've seen before, and it has a more futuristic look. So to me, the texture of the suit was almost like Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it looked amazing. I thought it was way better than anything I had seen before.
Yeah, Henry Cavill, I mean, he put some hard training in. He filled that suit out really well. You know what I like too, when he first put the suit on and he's flying through the air, they actually show him like smiling, and like, you know, most movies he just kind of like, boom, now I can fly, this is cool. In this movie they kind of captured the human side of him where he's like, this is badass, I can fly, I have the suit.
Yeah, I love right after when he gets the suit and he goes flying everywhere and kind of testing his
potential. It feels like $1 million.
I know, it's like, yeah, man, I'm Superman.
I'm a badass.
I love that part.
So, you know, a lot of stuff happens in the movie that kind of brings all the characters together, and then you start meeting some of the generals and some of the soldiers, and you know, Zod comes, and they picked the best guy to play Zod. I don't know his name, but he was really good.
He was really good.
The last movie I saw him in was in Premium Rush, and he played like a cop, like a evil cop or whatever. But he just was on point the whole movie. His facial expressions, the way he talks. He's just badass to the max. Perfect character for it.
And then the female
was awesome.
Warrior or whatever you call it, that was also part of his, you know, squad or whatever. She was so badass. It was like, okay, my kind of girl. She kicked everybody's ass.
Oh yeah, she was beating everybody. Which
awesome.
We have to talk about that. But it's funny, so we were watching Family Guy last night, and it's like they kind of know what's going on. Well, obviously they know what's going on in the world, so they played one of their episodes last night where they do a flashback talking about the Superman original movie with Christopher Reeves, when he's fighting Zod and they're in his Arctic ice temple, and he like peels off his ass and throws it at him, and they're making fun of it. And I was wondering while watching the movie, I'm like, isn't there supposed to be like a giant, jacked, like acromegaly face looking dude? And that was the guy with the chick. They just never showed his face. He was just the big stocky guy.
Yeah.
But we need to bring up a valid point. So throughout the movie, they make it very clear that the only way Zod and his team will get superpowers is if their helmet gets ripped off, because their suits are insulated and the helmet makes sure that they can breathe like their own air, their own atmosphere. So it's just like us, like I guess going into space, like our suits are made so that we don't absorb any of the radiation. Our sunlight's radiation to them. So it doesn't make sense to me that they can wear their suits and have their helmets on and not get the super senses or whatever, but they still have all the superpowers like the super speed, super strength, and all these other things. Maybe it's like the suit only absorbed a little bit at a time and it was just enough to give him the power. But at the same time, if that was the case, obviously Superman's been there for 33 years. He's 33 years of absorbing the sunlight, and these people are there for like 5 minutes and they're already just as strong or like stronger than him, which I thought was a little dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they had to make that happen in order for the scenes to be, I think, more badass. So they're not covered with 300 pounds of suit, but the explanation was a little flaky.
And they didn't hold back, and that's what we liked best about this movie. Is even like the chick was badass. Erica loved the chick. She's punching dudes and they're like exploding and like slamming against the ground and going through walls. And at one point, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but she like jumps on the front of a jet and it looks like she rips a dude in half as she's ripping him out of the pilot seat. Remember that part?
Yeah.
She's just like, wow, rips him out. And then, the fight happens and the whole city just gets decimated, which I thought was so cool.
It was really cool because they made them extremely strong. So when somebody punched somebody, they were gonna go through 5 buildings and break 89 glasses and windows. And so when it was all said and done, it was just, everything was completely gone.
Yeah, they definitely brought a sense of realism as to, okay, if super beings are fighting each other, it ain't gonna be confined to like one area, like one building, like most of these movies are. And actually, there was a couple teasers in there. There was a Wayne Enterprises satellite, and then there was a LexCorp truck that got thrown at Superman, which I was like, babe, you see that LexCorp truck right there? Obviously.
I miss Lex Luthor.
Talking about Lex Luthor.
He's like the official enemy from when I was a kid, so he's like, I want him there in every Superman movie. I know that's not possible, so I missed that part.
Yeah.
And no mention of Kryptonite either, the whole movie.
Yeah, they didn't mention Kryptonite, and they were talking about like the atmosphere stuff. And when he went on their ship, he had a hemorrhage in his head, and he passed out. And he woke up, and now he has no superpowers. Which, again, like he has 33 years of absorbing, the sun's radiation. I thought that was a little weird. But I mean, they tied it all together. They made it all make sense, I
thought the story was really good. I'm usually very picky about story. I love action, but things have to make sense. And I thought they did a really good job. There weren't that many flaws that we could find really with the movie.
And it was funny.
It was a little too long. We talked about. They could have made it a little shorter. There were some scenes that were a little slower.
I feel like all the scenes with him and Lois Lane, I didn't really feel the chemistry, and I feel like those scenes were kind of awkwardly long.
I thought as actors they really had no chemistry. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
There was really no chemistry between the two of them. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was like they were just kind of saying their lines,
She was not a very charismatic actress. That role didn't work for her. I didn't think. She wasn't that's Lois Lane, we want him to be happy. It was kind of indifferent.
Yeah, Lois Lane has like fire, She didn't have that fire.
Yeah, she's very bubbly and clever, and this girl didn't have that.
Yeah, so before we wrap this up, Superman in handcuffs was wicked funny. I like it.
I like that part.
And what I liked really the best about the movie is I asked her what she thought, and I'm like, I was wondering what was going to happen because they already sent everyone back to the Phantom Zone, and now it's Zod versus Superman. And in my head, I know Superman does not kill people. He just doesn't do it. And so I'm wondering how this movie's going to end. And she's like, I just thought he was going to kill him. I was like, well, it's because you don't know Superman doesn't kill people.
I don't know all the nuance.
And so, when he has him at the end, and he's like begging Zod to stop, and he's like, never, and he's just like, boom! It was like a sonic boom to snap his neck. Which I was thinking, I'm like, man, it kind of looked like he snapped his neck to the right, which would make the lasers kill the people anyways, because they were shooting out.
A good point.
You know, it's like, I hope Superman really knew those laser eyes were going to shut off as soon as he snapped the neck.
But overall, he did a great job as an actor. I felt like he was very conflicted, right? Because the entire movie, he's choosing between, you know, his people from Krypton and Earth, who was his newfound home. So the entire time is, hey, do I save people from my new home, or, you know, do I help people from Krypton? So I think he was very conflicted, and he reflected it really well. Because a lot of action actors, they are not very good with the emotion part, and I thought he was awesome. Even at the very end, when he was about to kill Zod, you know, he was so angry after he killed them, because it's like, okay, this was my last chance of really saving my kind, and I just killed them. And I think he did a good job.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. So I would give this movie like 5
Thumbs
out of 5.
up, yes.
Easy. Obviously, if you're watching this, we completely spoiled the movie. If you did, so
Hopefully you're watching after you watch the movie, so you can kind of compare your opinions to ours.
yeah, we would love to know if we missed some stuff or if we were wrong about stuff. We'd love to know what you guys have to say. And I will say that, you know, I always make Erica stay to the end of every movie to make sure there's nothing after the scenes. And it was really weird because when the movie ended, it sounded like a little kid's voice said, "Uh-oh," like at the very, remember it was weird?
Yeah.
It was like the credits ran, and then the WB thing showed, and then it went like, "Uh-oh," and then the movie ended. I was like, what the hell is that?
No after credits?
Yeah, and they should always do after credits, you know, either they just show like Superman like just chilling in his ice fortress. Like how cool would it have been if like the movie ended and it just shows Superman in his ice fortress sitting like a boss in like a crystal chair, just like chilling, you know, looking at all his stuff maybe he found in the ocean.
Yeah, Lois in a bikini.
Yeah, Lois is just chilling in a bikini with like a chain around her neck like in Star Wars.
I like that, dude.
That would have been wicked funny. Yeah, so hey, thanks for tuning in to our movie review of Superman, Man of Steel. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.